Microbiological hazards occur when food becomes contaminated by microorganisms found in the air, food, water, soil, animals and the human body. Many microorganisms are helpful and necessary for life itself. However, given the right conditions, some microorganisms may cause a foodborne illness. Microorganisms commonly associated with foodborne illnesses include bacteria, viruses and parasites. The World Health Organization estimates that contaminated food collectively kills around 420,000 people annually. Diarrheal diseases are responsible for more than half of the global burden of foodborne diseases, causing 550 million people to fall ill, and 230,000 deaths every year. Every year in the United Kingdom, an estimated 1 million people endure foodborne illness. Foodborne illness costs the UK economy an estimated £2 billion each year. Microbiological hazards include molds and viruses, yeasts and bacteria. Everywhere around us, there are microorganisms, in the air, water, soil, and on all living people and animals. Many are indispensable and help us in the making of dairy products such as yogurts and cheeses. Yeasts are an integral part of bread making and brewing. Unhappily, others cause spoilage, and a minimal number are pathogenic, meaning dangerous in that they can create diseases, such as foodborne illness. When harmful microorganisms reach into the food chain, and your consumers then eat the food, foodborne illness could occur. The most typical symptoms of foodborne illness are diarrhea, vomiting, fever, sore throat with fever, and jaundice. Food can be contaminated by 3 types of microorganisms, which will lead to foodborne illness: bacteria, viruses and parasites. Bacteria are microscopic, and cannot be seen by the human eye. Which merely means that you can sit and look at a piece of food, and not know if potentially harmful bacteria are there. Foods that have the potential to be a hazard are those that have a moisture content, those that are low in acid and have a protein content. Examples are meats, including poultry and seafood, dairy products, cooked vegetables, cooked rice. Add warmth, and the bacteria will start to multiply rapidly over a short period of time. Circumstances influencing bacterial growth. Food poisoning bacteria can reproduce very swiftly, especially in particular situations. The circumstances that influence bacterial growth include time. In perfect conditions, one bacterium can multiply to more than 2 million in 7 hours. Temperature. Food poisoning bacteria develop best in the temperature range between 5 degrees Celsius and 63 degrees Celsius. This is referred to as the temperature danger zone. This indicates that we need to hold perishable food either very cold or very hot to avoid food poisoning. Nutrients. Most foods include sufficient nutrients for bacteria to thrive. This is notably the case with potentially high-risk foods, such as dairy and egg products, meat and poultry, and seafood. Water. Bacteria require water for their growth. Without water, growth may reduce down, or stop. That is why dehydrated foods do not spoil. Dehydration is one of the oldest methods of food preservation, and was used by prehistoric peoples in sun-drying seeds. The dairy industry is one of the largest processors of dehydrated food, producing quantities of whole milk, skim milk, buttermilk, and eggs. pH is the measure of acidity or alkalinity, and is also indispensable for managing bacterial growth. Low pH, acid conditions, usually stops bacterial growth, but where the pH of food is neutral, As is the case for various foods, most bacteria flourish quite well. Vinegar is used in all sorts of food preservation methods. It has a few key properties that make it ideal at slowing or stopping food from spoiling for long periods. It is primarily the pH, or acidity of vinegar, that inhibits bacterial growth, and this process is most commonly called pickling. Safety rules. Never use food past its use-by date. Always defrost food thoroughly before cooking, unless the manufacturer's instructions tell you to prepare from frozen, or you have a proven safe method. The exterior of the food could appear to be cooked, but the center might not be, which is where it could contain harmful bacteria. Store foods correctly. Ensure that cold food is below 5 degrees centigrade, and that hot food is kept above 63 degrees centigrade. Lukewarm food is not safe, as it is a perfect condition for bacteria to thrive. If cooked food is not stored above 63 degrees Celsius, it should be used up within 2 hours of cooking. It is crucial to cool food as soon as possible. This is to limit the growth of bacteria. Ideally, this should be cooled to less than 8 degrees Celsius, inside 90 minutes. It is necessary to reheat food correctly, to eliminate harmful bacteria that may have increased since the food was cooked. Store the food chilled, as much as possible, until reheating begins. Do not put food into hot holding, without reheating it properly first. Reheating means cooking again, not just warming up. Always reheat food until it is hot all the way through. Heat to at least 70 degrees Celsius for at least 2 minutes. Do not reheat more than once. Can you recognize any high-risk food types? Foods that afford a home for bacteria to exist, develop and flourish are called high-risk foods. Examples of high-risk foods: ready-to-eat foods that don't need any additional cooking. Cooked meat and fish. Gravy, stock, sauces and soup. Shellfish. Dairy products such as milk, cream and soy milk and cooked rice. Bacteria can swiftly increase on a raw chicken, but we would not characterize this as a high-risk food unless you plan to eat it raw. Nevertheless, a cooked chicken that has previously been prepared and is now intended to be eaten without any further action. If the chicken is contaminated at this point, it could result in food poisoning and other food-related illnesses, and so may be defined as a high-risk food. Apples contain a lot of moisture but do not have adequate protein to stimulate bacteria to increase. Therefore they would not be defined as a high-risk food.